Okay. So status. Can you see my screen? I think so.
Yeah, I can.
Let's fetch all because there has been some merges. Okay. So last week, this was that. Then triage. On Thursday, to fix the new bugs for 1.10 and 1.9.3. This one, so these ones were opened by Antoine mainly, removing task list dependency on jobs queue because task list is deprecated, so we don't need the reference. Boom. Then we fixed font awesome in Orchard.Resources by actually removing the one from module and pointing the modules module to use the one in Orchard.Resources. We also, this thing we reverted, so I won't talk about it. Dashboard is also now requiring the font awesome resource and not depending on its own CSS or trying to find some CSS in the layout. Then we refactored the font in Orchard.Resources to add more fonts which were required, like from Bootstrap. This one was opened by Christian. So it was missing a font in the Orchard.Resource for Bootstrap, so we added it this way, the halflings. And we updated the location of the fonts to root folder on the resources module, so that the default locations from Bootstrap and others will point to the correct folder instead of having to change the source of Bootstrap to point to our folder. So this also is better. Then worked on the resources for jQuery UI because there were some issues. Breaking changes which were not required, so we fixed that. And then Daniel fixed also fixed it in a better way. Let me check here.
Message system 52082226605 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording,
that was this one. That was Gustavo. So yes, there were some issues in the jQuery, so bugs on the changes, but also I don't know if you answered on the thread. Is Daniel here?
I'm here.
You're here. Did you see my question on the thread? Because you were not here during the triage, and our question.
I saw your question, and I don't know if you were referring to jQuery core or jQuery
Yes.
UI core.
jQuery UI core.
Okay. Well, so I checked both, and the interaction, widgets, and effects packages. I did post a comment on your question, by the way, but basically those do not include core. None of them do.
Okay.
So they should depend on the core resource that's declared
But
higher up in this file.
it also means that this thing then is core and not jQuery UI. It's jQuery UI core.
Yes, exactly.
So this is not obvious because from our discussion, we suppose that jQuery UI was the full framework.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's not the case.
So then,
but
the jQuery UI...
that's actually all determined by the way that we build these resources, because we do it in the gulp file. So none of these packages, the interaction, widgets, effects, or the core,
that's
are
fine.
downloaded. We build them ourselves out of the core.
Yeah, that's fine, but it was not obvious if the build would just be, if this file, to be explicit, would just be the core, UI-core, or jQuery UI. Because we used to have a jQuery UI core resource.
Yeah.
And now there was the jQuery UI, so we suppose, okay, there is no more jQuery UI core, there is just jQuery UI. This is why this thing, jQuery interaction, will not depend on jQuery UI, because we suppose that either you depend on jQuery UI and you have everything, or you just want interaction and then it contains interaction and UI core, widgets and UI core, effects and UI core. So then we added the jQuery UI core to depend on that just for compatibility reasons. So like if your module was depending on jQuery UI core, it will still work because now you will actually point to jQuery UI, which will be the full one. So if you explain us that jQuery UI is actually core, then let's call it jQuery UI core, and we don't have to create another resource named jQuery UI core.
That makes sense. When I checked on this question for you, I also found another issue with the way that we've structured it now. So we have interaction, widgets, and effects, right? But some interaction and widgets contain some of the same JavaScript files in the assets file. So I think basically what we should do is separate those two completely and make widgets depend on interaction, because it seems interaction is a subset of widgets.
Okay. And I kept these three because maybe someone just wants widgets or effects or interaction. I will even go to the point to have just jQuery UI, which includes everything.
Yeah, didn't we have that before?
No. Well, I don't. Maybe jQuery UI will. Probably. But this is why. Well, I kept these three because I assumed we had a full one. But if you say there is no full one, you see the naming for me. There was a change because in 1.9 we had jQuery UI core, and then maybe jQuery UI and all the sub elements. So it was clear what it was doing. But now that then in the resources appeared jQuery UI, so we assumed this is a full jQuery UI, which makes sense. I mean, okay, let's use jQuery UI, full package.
Well, the thing is, you don't have to assume that. You can just go check the assets JSON file and you'll see what it consists. Because we built all of these ourselves.
Even that. Even looking at that, it was not obvious. Because the notion of core also was deprecated in jQuery UI. So we were not sure if it was to reflect that there was no more jQuery UI even in jQuery. Sorry, there was no more core even in the jQuery UI library. So it was not obvious. So I think. And even now, if I look at that and I see a resource named jQuery UI, now you tell me that it's just jQuery UI core. There is no module at all.
But I don't know if that reflects on the way that it's set up in their download page. I just know that that's the way that we build them.
Yeah, okay. Because on the download page there is download jQuery UI, which contains everything, or get a subset of them, interaction, widget, and effects, or build your own based on all the plugins.
And there is actually a core package
and
too.
There is nothing talking about. Yeah, core is there is a checkbox, but you can't download it. It's just part of the dependencies when you build something.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So when you say download jQuery UI, you have core and all the modules. That's why. So if you want to simplify, I don't know if what people think. I'd rather even just have jQuery UI, and you get everything, and the rest for compatibility reasons. Like, okay, let's declare a jQuery UI core, which depends on jQuery UI. So if you wanted jQuery UI core, now you get everything. Same thing for all the modules. If you want something, you get everything.
That might be considered breaking, though. If previously you got less than what you're getting now, maybe that has some side effects to load more than you expect.
Probably. Then we can still keep the jQuery UI core, which points to the core and reflect what we had before. But maybe
which ones of these resources do you think are required for compat reasons, though? What do we need to keep, not to break people?
I don't know. What are we using?
I guess it depends on what was there before we did this whole resources refactoring in the first place. Because this is new for 1.10, right?
But everything here was there in 1.9.
Yeah.
Interaction with jet effects is new. jQuery UI is new, but everything else was there.
Okay. And the whole module, the Orchard.Resources, is new for 1.10, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So we just need to look at what resources we had in the old module.
This is why we made the deprecated for compatibility with version.
So all of those.
Everything you see here was in 1.9.
Oh, I see. Okay. I might simplify this a bit more then, because I agree with you. For the most part, I think what you want is just to, the full Monty.
Okay. Good. So this is a small fix for Angular. We'll trust you. Duplicate definition. So these are the changes you made or you merged for jQuery UI. This is on dev, so apparently Lombic added placeholder properties on all the fields. Placeholder being the gray text, transparent text inside an input when there is no value, like a hint.
That's a nice addition. Thank you, Lombic. Since I see you're fishing for compliments in the chat window, might as well give you one.
We can do that for ourselves.
Thank you very much.
A treatment null value for params argument. Yes, so I merged this morning two changes related to the same issue for image profile manager. Since we accept now a set of filter records, this one will ensure that we are not creating an array with a null value, and the other one will ensure that even if you get a null value in an array, it's not taken into account. So I merged two pull requests this morning about that. Right, this one and this one. You see, this one is also another check, just in case you don't go through the first method, which will clean the array. You go to the second method, which has then a dirty array. It will still clean it. And apparently some work from Sipke and Siyamand on the, well, Sipke just pulled the request on the theme, and that's it. So after that, I recompiled 1.10 and I recopied the binaries, the zip files on the Rees and GitHub. So if you want to try it, please try it. But apparently we'll get another change on the jQuery UI. That's the status for the release and the changes. Questions? Oh, 10 people appeared in the meantime.
I created two other issues about
Yes.
110.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you. So, more issues. Did you tag them?
No.
This one, but Sipke could not. So this one, another one? I see just one from you.
Yeah. Let me copy.
Oh, this one also. But this one I didn't care. This one, workflow, you say that you can't edit workflows anymore.
No. Or
But-
create one.
And Sipke checked and he says it works. So we need a third person to validate one or the other to try it. I will. But if someone can do it in the meantime, that would be perfect. If you have 1.10 or 193 or both, that would be perfect. And this one, you say if you yeah. So if you enable package update and go to the tab updates of the gallery, there is an error. It seems to try to download the package but fails and display the HTML source. I replaced the gallery URL by the correct one. The URL of the downloads in the gallery tab is also weird because it shows wrong. Blah blah blah. Okay, so this is the internal URL of the Azure website, which means maybe when we go on the official URL, some links. pointing to Azure website somewhere. I don't know, maybe from the download, because maybe I will check the password later. Maybe I didn't update the base URL in the website and it's using these things. I don't know. I will check. I must be the one to be able to fix it.
I pasted the service URL, but it's not in the XML. In the chat, I pasted the URL. Or maybe in packages, yeah.
/ packages modules API feed service / packages. Okay. Yep, that's it. When it's rendering the URL, it's rendering it this way. And this works. So I will check. But we could at least, well, I think it's unrelated of the update module. Maybe it's just the feed which doesn't contain some specific information. I will check that. But I can also fix the URL. It's just the base URL on the website which will be using the domain. Yep, okay, I will fix that. So 2 more bugs. But 193 should be impacted also.
And last week you created the gallery theme on GitHub.
Not the theme. Maybe you just saw the theme, but
module,
yeah. So yeah, I will talk about it actually. If I go to this one. So on there was a nice discussion on the Orchard Gallery repository because there was an issue which I closed. Can't find the source code. People started complaining, so no source code. So and this was all, and then RTP-RE also complained. I'd like to see it too. They want to see the source code, ping me. And then open source is so overrated these days. I'm trying a new approach to make open source without showing the source code. Commands pushed me, and I released the source code. Okay, but I also released. So I released the source code for the gallery, which is a module on Orchard. Okay, very simple, you'll see. I also put the README to explain what it was doing and how to set up a gallery. So because by using this module, you can set up your own gallery. The trick is to know that you just have to download the module, then go in the recipes tab, and there is a gallery recipe, which will set up all the content types and taxonomy that you need to run a gallery. You will just have to create a menu to point to the controller entries, and then you have a new type of package and package version. And I also released the theme I'm using, which is based on 2 themes I put on the Orchard organization. So this one is a Bootstrap theme, very simple. The only the Bootstrap theme, just to have Bootstrap and handling layouts in Bootstrap and the customization we talked about last week. And this one, which is the GalleryMachine, which has all the overrides to display packages and correctly in the admin and not in the admin but in the front end, in summary and in detail, and is based on Bootstrap. That's why I also released the Bootstrap one. And it's based on Bootstrap using the less file. Okay, so even the Bootstrap machine is based on the less definitions, not custom CSS. That's it. So now you can contribute to the gallery. Are there more bugs actually? No, 7 days ago. Good. Questions? Okay, nothing. Status done. Release. 3 more bugs. Status demos. Status. Gallery source code published. What am I missing? We'll do some Orchard 2 after. No question. Then demos. Siyamand, are you ready?
Hello, everybody.
So for those who don't know Siyamand, I think it was last year or 6 months ago, something like that. You showed us the ticket management in Orchard that you made with the workflow integration.
Yes.
And then there was another module you showed us, which was, it was more about content management.
It was email, IMAP email client, I guess.
IMAP email client, okay. What's up today? I made you a presenter, I will stop presenting.
Thanks. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet, and we'll wait for Benedek because he's recording.
Loading. I can see it, yes. Yeah, I have it now. More or less, because most of the screen is black actually.
Let me...
Yeah, the screen is black.
One moment. Let me put it down. And where is it?
Are you in India?
I got it's here. No, not here. Sorry, guys. No. That's it. Yes, I found it. Sorry. Because of sharing the screen, I couldn't find this web page.
But we still can't see anything. I think you need to share again because it's all black.
Okay, everyone can see my screen?
No, it's all black. To stop sharing and start sharing again, I think.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
It seems there are... hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, okay, so...
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let me present this. It seems there are communication problem.
Okay, so I will do my demo. Siyamand, can you hear us?
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
You can. Okay, then go on. If you can't do right now, I will start mine and you will be able to prepare in the meantime, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, it seems that you're answering our questions like 20 seconds after we ask them. So there is definitely some issue.
I reconnected again.
Okay. So can someone explain? Okay, I will just. Okay, he left the meeting. He will join back. We'll see. I will start my demo, and someone explain him on the chat that. Well, we'll see if he reconnects soon. I will start mine. Bedex, tell me when you can see my screen.
It's loading. And I can see a black screen.
A black screen? No!
Yeah.
Seriously?
No, okay. It's okay now. I can see yours.
Fine. I see what you see. You see people are seeing that. So, so status on Orchard 2 from 2 weeks ago. I started the content management to the 2 modules. I started, so let me see. Mainly content types management, so content definition, and content management, meaning so content definitions and content management, everything in the admin side. So let me go over each commit just to see if I missed something, because there were, when I try to create a new module, it's dependent on many other pieces in Orchard. So by the way, I'm adding those pieces to be able to continue. For instance, this was mostly on the content display management, which is to render content items in a way that you can reuse the pipeline to render content items, and also in different modules. Like content display management is a separate module. Content display is also a different module. So it needed title part, which I created, a very simple one just to be sure that it works. So I created a title part and a driver and the migrations just to ensure that parts were working, because the display management was handling the parts and the fields display. So display handler, flat positioning, so optimizations. Then I changed this one based on Daniel's request. I think it was you asked for something, the clear. Yes, I implemented the clear, this one. This was that you wanted. I also renamed it based on Christian's comment, because they were like add title part, and then there could be some confusion with the title part, so I call them segments, so title segments. Okay, that's it. And I updated, you see, render title segments, add a segment, and render the title. But you can also do it in 2 steps if you want, like just add segment and then title.render title, and this works well. Then content part support. So during a full week I worked on rendering parts and fields and crazy things, how to organize how the rendering is done, but in the end it works the same as in Orchard 1 again. Then, let me see if I miss something. No. Then, so content types branch, adding diagnostics middleware. Yes, because if with that you can see your messages. With that, and runtime info page is a way to get information on the server that is running. We'll have to remove it and put it in configuration. Then added the JSON formatter, so we can actually render JSON documents out of the controllers. And I made a simple test web API to return a content item with a single call. You see, with an object result, which is something in MVC now. And it's very simple because content items can be serialized in JSON directly, so it works out of the box. Then the contents module, and I will just show you what has been done. Yep, let's start it. So, host. So this is a demo module with a home page which creates content items. But if I go to a module which goes in the admin, like content types admin list, So this menu was working already a few weeks ago, but now it has the content type management, content definition with content types and content parts. It has the content management with the new and the content items here. So the content types here just lists the content types as in Orchard 1. This one is not used anymore. Yes, this one works. So you see here I have article and I have foo. Foo has been created by the migration of the demo module. Article was dynamically created. Here I can create new items because they are creatable. I can list items and I can edit the type. So if I edit article, it's like Orchard 1, display name, creatable, listable, draftable, securable. All of these three work. This one will require the permissions module. Stereotype, this is ugly but works. So this one, for instance, has a field, which is a text field. So I created a text field in the demo module just to be sure the fields work in terms of content management and editor and display. I created the title part just to be sure the title part was working, even with a handler to define the display text. So then we can create a new article, and you see it's displaying the title and the text as a text field. Save and publish buttons work. So if I say new article, text, and it works because if I go to the content types, it is draftable. If I remove draftable, you don't see the publish button anymore, or the save, I don't know which one. So new article, article 1, text 1. I can save it and it will make a draft. Oh, by the way, because I worked on that, I needed to create the notification module, and I will show you how it works, the notification feature. So if I go to that in the database, as a reminder, we have documents, which is just a set of integer and types for each document. Okay, nothing special. Here they are all mostly content items. But you also have the migrations, the metadata for the content types, the shell descriptor for all the features enabled. And you have content, which contains the actual JSON documents for every one of these documents. And you have this one, which is the most important for the content items, because this is an index for content items. So you get document ID. I added, after some discussions with Zoltan, and maybe just Zoltan, the modified UTC, published UTC, and created UTC on the content item itself, not on the command part, on the content item itself. Now it's indexed too, so we can do with one query, without any join, query everything here. And you can see that the article I just created is a draft, so it's not published, it's the latest and version number 1, and it doesn't have any published UTC value. But now if I say publish now, refresh that, that's there. So this is this, this draft is now published. Okay, this is the same record because the draft gets published, and now the published date is there, and the created UTC is updated with the published date. This is the same behavior as in Orchard 1, and I like it. So if I create now a new draft by calling save, I should have 2 records for the same content item ID. This one, I have the latest one, which is now a draft, and the previous one is still published. And if I publish it, now the latest is also the published one, and the previous one is still there. Okay, so we can still query the previous versions. And obviously we have 2 documents, 161 and 162, in the contents table. If I refresh, 2 documents in the content table. 162 is the published version. 161 is the previous draft. Okay, you see number 1, number 2. So you have access to all the values historically also in each document. Feel free to interrupt me if you have questions. So this is to edit a content item. You can list the content items, and we see our new article here. Maybe they are not correctly ordered because this one should be at the top or at the bottom somewhere. So article, this is a text field value. It appears here because the driver doesn't distinguish between the display types. And I can edit an existing value, obviously. You can delete it. And I will click to edit and change the admin edit to item display, like in Orchard 1, to display it on the front end. And you see title article 1 and text 1, because they are coming from two different drivers. Okay, and how it works. Okay. Are there issues with the sound on the video? Sorry.
No, okay.
Yes, but just for Piotr.
Okay. Timestamp DP. Why? Beautiful. Oh, Nick is here. Welcome back, Nick. Where are you? You're muted, Nick, if you're talking. So this is for displaying what one. Yes, I wanted to show you the code for that thing. So what is interesting in Orchard 2 in terms of fields and parts is that if I look at the text field in this module, fields, the text field driver. So you need two things. You need to implement the content field to say, oh, it's a field, and you need to implement a content field driver to register the field, and you need for parts and fields the display driver, okay, to render things, just to render it. And you see in the text field display driver is exactly like parts, display text field for which part, so you have access to the two, and you say, oh, I want a shape called text field with the field value, and you define the location like this, and there is a change also on the location. So it says location content. I haven't implemented placement yet, but you can do all the placement you want in the shape already, which is much better than before. So for instance, you don't need a default placement info file. You can define the default in your shape in the code directly. Okay, and I will show you how. So location, and you see here I say content all the time, which means if I display it in summary admin, in summary, or in detail, it will always display this shape for a text field. And the edit will go in the content zone also, and the update is very simple, try update and return edit. And this is why you get it there. And if I look at the title part driver, same thing, we have a driver just to materialize the part for the system, and here forgetting the item metadata, which is a display text, and we have a display driver, or to call it display, we'll see, which is just to render it. And this one, you see, is exactly the same thing: display, edit, update async, and return shapes. And here, in this case, when we render something which has a title part, we say we render the title part shape, which is a view here, title part shape, and we say for the location, we define multiple locations. For detailed display type, we want it in content, and for summary display type, we want it in content. Okay, and all the other display types won't be rendered. So this shows you how you don't have to implement a placement info to render something by default. We will have also placement info, but you can do it also at the driver level. And you can, I was thinking also about adding some predicates if we want to make things much more complex, because in the end it's a predicate, but based here on dictionary, or based on, oh, this is a default location if you just provide content like this, default location, so it will always be displayed in content, or per display type. But you could also say summary and give it a null, empty, or dash. Okay, just to say, oh, hide it in summary. So you could say content always, but in summary, don't show. Yeah.
And I guess if we would have placement.info support, then that would take precedence, right?
It will, yes, override. Let's be clear. It will override any default here. Yeah. And the placement info, the ID that I talked with Bertrand like a month ago about that. He wanted to be able to define placement at the shape level here, which I think is great. Please tell me if you don't agree or agree. We can extend it with more things, by the way, if we want. And the placement will be completely extensible. So we'll be able to have multiple evaluator or whatever on each placement node so that we can extend the logic. So by default, it will just be nothing, a JSON document, and then we'll be able to look into the nodes to say, oh, you have a content type limitation, so I will just override your placement, checking for the content type. Same thing for the content part, same thing for whatever. So it will be extensible. That's it. Notification. A big change in the notification. I think Piotr will be happy. We'll see if he knows why. A big change in notification is that the notifier, where is my iNotifier? First, there is documentation, you see, it's beautiful. And now the notifier, where is this? This is not what I'm looking for. Notification service? No. Oh, two things. First, look at this. HTML string. Very important. I will show you why. But what I want is notify filter. This one, the filter which will inject the notifications. Cookie prefix. So instead of using sessions here, as before, and the temp data, I am using cookies in this case. This is the same logic, but using cookies. Which means when you write a notification from a controller, it will send a notification. It will either dump it right now if the result is a view, or if it's a redirect, it will send it as a cookie. And on the next request, you come back with your browser, you're sending the notification that will appear on the next view. Okay? So we don't save it on the server as sessions, we save it as cookies, which means here the sessions are not enabled. By default, there is no session. We don't need the sessions. This was the only reason we needed sessions in Orchard 1. Now we don't even need sessions to be enabled, which from Piotr's experience makes the request faster, and it will be simpler also for serialization, for multi-node management, and so on. And it works perfectly. And I checked with the MVC team within the same room as me that it's completely fine.
And so, how about implementing, the same in Orchard 1?
We could.
Mm-hmm.
We could. Totally. Take copy paste the code. It's bulletproof. We even found some bugs in the cookie management of ASP.NET.
Nice.
With this code. And it works with multi-tenant, so it will use the shell settings to limit the cookie to the correct tenant. You will see it somewhere. Like when we delete the cookie, we say for this tenant path. Same thing when we create it. It's also something I mentioned is that when you call notifier, you see add. Now it's not a string, it's a localized string, a localized HTML string, which means it's a localized string because it's a message which has to be displayed, and localized HTML because the notifications will always be rendered in the view. So we expect you to provide in the end something which is already encoded. So you can provide HTML out of the box. Okay, so the notification can contain HTML and it's supposed to contain HTML. That will be fine. There won't be any more double encoding or whatever issues. This is the good thing with the localized strings in ASP.NET Core, is that there is localized string and localized HTML string to be explicit that it won't be encoded. It's already encoded. So for instance, for logging, we can use localized string, and for outputting some view, we use localized HTML string. And the text is localized, then sent into the cookie, encoded, decoded back on the server side, and rendered. And in terms of security, it's fine because it's as safe as sending a value from a form. If you use HTTPS, it can't be decoded, it's just a notification, and whatever, it's still rendered on the view. So it has the same security as the views you are displaying. Questions? So I think I will stop here. I worked more, so you see notifications, draft working, bugs in SQL, draft, get content API. So I made a get content API in the contents module, which is API. You see, get a number, 27, and you get the value. If I do that with the 305, it will also work perfectly. Boom, boom, boom. And in terms of perf, there is no caching at all here, and you see here 7-8 milliseconds on my local box, obviously, so it's faster than if it was, I don't know. It's similar to what you would have on the server side, and same thing for the display, item, display. Boom. It's a very simple content item, but same thing, you will get something like, is here 15 milliseconds. 11, 8, 13, 13. In the end, when I run some perf test with 10 concurrent users during 1 minute, and for 10 concurrent users, no think time, we get 400 requests per second, and there is no cache. Okay, it's all live data from the database on every request, and the average response was 90% on 50 milliseconds. The 90 percentile. Okay, only one request was 1 second for whatever reason, maybe GC collecting. Also, what is interesting in terms of perf is if I go on the admin, this menu, I will show you by doing inspect and opening that. You see I display the render time, menu rendered on Tuesday at 20:50. This is now. F5, same thing. F5, same thing. So the menu is cached until I go to the types, for instance, and edit, change something, save, and then the menu is rendered again, 30. Okay. So the menu, the menu shape defines the cache context that I showed like 2 months ago, based on types management, based on roles, users, things like that. So whenever something changes, it invalidates the shape and it can be rendered. But otherwise, it doesn't have to reprocess the menu again. It's fully HTML, full HTML in cache. That's it. I will just hand over Siyamand. Siyamand, are you still here?
Sorry for inconsistency.
That's okay. I will. You are still a presenter? No, you are not. I will put you back as a presenter.
Okay, do we have enough time?
We'll see. You have 10 minutes. Do you have enough time?
Yeah, that's enough.
Good. Go on.
You
can share.
Let's share the screen this time. Okay. Can you see my screen this time?
Not yet.
Yes, for me.
I don't see a thing.
It's not even loading.
Still not?
Now it's loading for me.
I'm seeing just a partial black screen.
Same thing as before. Yeah, we see a big black screen in the middle, so it will fail.
It's not visible, isn't it? Maybe I forget to push some button.
It looks like sharing issue or driver issue?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, guys.
That's okay.
It seems.
Sorry for you. What are we missing? Oh, we can see now.
Wait, yeah, I can see it.
Now we can see. Try it.
Okay.
You even have a PowerPoint? Oh,
Yes.
React. Okay, let's stop the meeting now. I see React. We'll start talking like 1 hour.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. We can see our screen.
The demo is a short demo about combining ReactJS and Orchard. It's about the challenge that I faced regarding having a rich UI and Orchard together. There are lots of features in Orchard and server side, but it's a challenge to have a rich UI. It's possible with jQuery UI or things like that, but with the modern client-side frameworks like Angela, it's difficult because they expect JSON data. And my idea was ReactJS can be a solution to this. You may know it's a library which is based on virtual DOM and splitting the user interface into reusable stateful components. And my idea is using ReactJS instead of Razor for creating the views, which enables us to have rich UI client and Orchard functionality, most of the Orchard functionality in the server side together. Here, it's the way that currently Orchard renders the shapes. It shapes the complex data tab containing data, metadata, subshapes, etc. And what currently we are doing is using the display method, which it's doing the magic and rendering the shape in the end using the razor views or shape methods. And in the end, we have the HTML. And we can have similar functionality with using ReactJS. We just need to serialize the shape into JSON, and using the ReactJS, we can have a display component this time instead of the display method in server side. And for each razor view, we can have a corresponding component in ReactJS. In this way, we can build the whole user interface in the client side. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. And I implemented a basic implementation of this, which works. For example, if I come here, for example, here it's implemented using in this way in client side. For example, it is a content item, and we have interaction, and we can.
So we can hear you, but the video you are showing, I'm sure, is many seconds behind you. So maybe you are showing us something, but we can't see it yet. We are still on the slides.
I see.
Now we can see the page. Now we can just see the page.
Okay. This page is completely rendered using, not completely the main part, using ReactJS in the client side. For example, this one is a content item, and now I have full functionality in the client side, rich UI. I can search, filter, everything, which is done using ReactJS. And the code is simple. We have, first we need serialization. Unfortunately, shape itself could not be serialized easily because it overrides some of the methods of the base dynamic object types. So we need serializers, and also for the records, content part records. It also needs special serialization because of the dependencies in the records. If the records have circle dependency or things like that, we would have problems. And in the JavaScript part, the code is also simple. It is here. Here is the basic implementation of the display component. And for each shape or razor view, we have corresponding component. And using it is simple. It can be used if we need, I don't know, interaction user interface in the client side. Yep, that's it.
Thank you.
Just don't stop presenting because we will see what you have just shown.
Keep your screen. Please keep your screen open because we can't even see what you're showing. We're still on the calendar view, and we got your explanation, but the video was not following your explanation. So the video will come in a few seconds. Like now, it's going back to Visual Studio. And we can see all your right JSON.
Actually, it's a JSX file. Can you see it?
We see it's going on. But we can see what you were showing a minute ago. Something like that.
Nice.
So it's completely delayed. You will see on the video. Yeah, great. React. That's sad that I think Jamie and Wesley left the meeting before your presentation because they also use React extensively. It will be interesting to see what they think about it and their experience too. I have no experience with React at all, so I won't judge anything. If someone thinks something about it, feel free to. Yeah, the video is still going on, and now we can see JSX file. Okay, questions?
What you have completed here, how much reusable is it? I mean, if you would like to build a UI with React, what you have built is a bit of a library kind of stuff, or is it just for this module? Or could you factor it out to a library to be able to better build React-based Orchard UIs?
Yes, I have the plan to extract it from this one. It's quite reusable. We can, I can extract there are two parts. One is serialization in the C#, which can be reusable. It contains serializer for content item, content parts, basic content part of Orchard like title, body, but for custom and also for the fields, but for custom content parts, one has to write her own serializers, and in the client side, he just or she just need to include this JSX file. It can also be used in server side, but it needs changing the web host of the Orchard, which I didn't do that. But if someone wants to use it in the server side too, to send in the first load send HTML to client side and later using JSON, it's also possible.
Good, and this is why also in Orchard 2 we just base everything on the JObject so that any content, item, part, or field is already serialized in JSON, so there is nothing to do. And even custom things, because they all get serialized in a JSON document. That would have helped. Good. Questions? Comments? Anything? For the release, same thing. We'll try on Thursday, because the 3 remaining items should be fixed by then. And I'm sure Antoine will find 3 other ones to fix. If you have questions, don't forget the Gitter chat. It's pretty active. Every morning when I connect, there are like 90 messages on the Gitter chat. And that's it. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday.
Bye,
Thank you, Siyamand.
Thank you, everyone, and sorry for inconsistency.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.